It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas,
Like a
half a
tic-tac.
pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Let's get this show on the road.
Before you say anything, prepare to shut the fuck up.
Screw me. I ripped ass at the ATM.
McLovin! Nice!
Sit back, relax, and enjoy Irrelevant Platitudes with your hosts, Peter Benici and Lil Dazil.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to Irrelevant Platitudes. We are your hosts, Peter Benici and...
Lil Dazil, bringing you all things relevant commentary on pop culture, dating, and relationships.
We have James Walker back in the house. What up, dog?
Too much, man. Just keeping the couch warm back here.
I know.
Just doing some level checks.
So, to everyone else, we had like a really good intro.
And now it's
And then
fucked.
the lucky David Razzie in the chat was like, you guys are echoing the fuck. And the two mics weren't picking up our audio. So... we've had to reshoot the whole fucking thing.
Yes.
But let's keep the energy going strong forward.
Excellent.
Do we want to cover weeks real quick?
Yeah.
All right. How was your week, guys?
Good.
You know what I can do? I'll put your week in now.
Yeah, please do.
And then, all right, we're done. How was your week, James?
And you can probably put my week in because my levels were fine.
Fine.
But just in case they're too loud, I had a creative week back on Instagram, Jimmy.walks
Yes.
on Insta.
Just
Go
keep
there
throwing
and
that
check
the
it
whole
out.
time.
Yeah,
See,
I've been
every 3 words.
been developing and scanning my own film shots at home. So
Exactly.
back to Poon Street photography.
And we've already popped our drinks, but
Drink of the week.
one of your
feel
mates is
like
posting an
I'm on
octopus.
an episode of Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah, true. I'm drinking Donation Jungle Juice, and we covered that it was poo. So
Yeah, and the blood
Not a
orange
fan.
equally as sucky.
probably worse. That was the feet
It
flavored
just
one.
tasted like beer.
But
Like stock
we were
bottle.
diving into the TikToks, right?
Yeah.
When everything went
That
awry.
too.
I like how we covered 26 minutes in like 4 seconds. All right. Go to the PC. Now, I'm going to have a mixed bag of stuff. What is that? That off. Come on. Cool. Anyway, computers and things.
TikTokies?
All right, so the TikToks we have. So I've got some stuff covered for our topic today.
Yes.
So that's this stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I'll jump us into some funnier stuff.
That's
not that
all
one.
the deposition.
Not that one. This one.
I'm an accountant.
Doing now.
I'm Curtis, I did maths, and now I'm an accountant.
I'm Hakan, I did drugs and now I'm a roofer.
What do you mean? It's funny we were talking about the accenty thing in the car on the way in. 100%,
ethnic
right?
accents, yeah.
No, the drugs. No,
Keeping it real, bro.
Yeah.
Keeping it real.
That was the direct contrast between that. Next one. Oh, this is great, actually.
I don't laugh.
Just
Yeah.
for the game.
You will.
Oh, little guy.
I'm gonna let that sink in. One more
Little
go.
guy.
His face.
I'm understanding.
So-
Even the initial.
Too good.
To everyone
Video
actually on the
as
pod
is.
now, if you're listening to this, if you guys want to jump over to Spotify, we've been approved for video. So you no longer have to go to YouTube, even though I'll still be posting there. But all our podcasts come up with video now. So all of these things will be fucking in your eyeballs.
Fabuloso.
And I think this is an Amber Heard. This is a. Oh, do we just want to do that one? It's pretty good.
We could.
Yeah.
mean,
I'll bring
As
it
long as
into the next
As long
one.
as
More
it's
serious,
funny.
It's not.
Is it funny?
Well, it's funny for like.
It's great. It'll fit what
Johnny
we're going
Depp.
to talk about anyway.
Okay.
But see, they were good.
I liked
They were good.
Okay, not bad.
I had a few stale weeks, but
Did you have any others? Or is it just
I
those
did,
two?
but I kept it to 3 because we've
I
got
don't
a
know
lot
why I
of
just went high
Johnny,
pitch. Do you have any others?
Johnny Depp stuff. All right, we gonna hit the dating topic for this week?
I'm going to take off my shoes.
Do it. Get comfy, man.
Yeah.
And all the while, you're just really wondering, are we going to get hopped up enough to make some bad decisions? Perhaps play a little game called Just a Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels.
My name is Jeff.
Did you add that at the end?
No, I just did that then live. I was like, I want to do something different.
I picked up on it.
Yes. So this week's topic is we're covering two things. One thing I've wanted to cover for a while is pretty privilege.
Yeah.
And I want to tie this into the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case.
Yep.
So in Pod World, last week we dropped the first one, which is where we looked at the kind of the relationship dynamics between it.
Yes.
And you gave us the scientific lowdown on kind of how things get to that toxicity level, and like the real objective kind of it's going to most likely be both of them causing problems. But I think this week, I know you've been kept out of the loop a little bit, James, but
The trial got juicy.
She's
like fucking
fucked, man.
juicy.
Like,
I have not
deposition
been
was
one of those
wild.
people that enjoy. Well, that's a lie. I
like
don't actively
Schadenfreude
go
just as
out of
much as
my
I do.
way to like watch drama shows and stuff.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's some-
Reality TV right now seems like a very interesting thing. Like I can't wait for the Netflix doco on this.
I was saying truth is stranger than fiction, but I haven't really kept up on it, but I have seen that there's been some pretty awful things on her part. But I've seemed to have seen in the last week or so since they've been on a break, I've seen as many, I've seen probably more defenses of Amber Heard and the sort of TikToks and stuff that were being made about her, as well as more people seeming to point the finger at Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's
the basis for
interesting.
That very much was the narrative kind of leading into it. And it might be that delay, like the media is always like a little bit behind kind of the current state because the deposition was yesterday and the day before.
Also depends on the filter bias as well.
Yeah.
Like because you stay out of the loop, you're probably seeing more neutral aspects of both. I definitely have a filter
I've
where
seen pretty charged aspects of both sides. I'd seen...
or more so a neutral state of like you're getting access to both because you're not actively searching into it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I think the algorithm's just trying shit on for size because it comes in
Trying to figure out which
comes in
side
from
you're
one
on.
angle and it's
Like,
like,
come
yeah,
here,
you
have a
know, fuck
look.
that bitch. And then I'm like, okay. Then it comes
Would you
back
like
in
this
and-
white knight hat, James, for a little bit? You're like, oh, this fits real nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we're really getting now the full picture where they've had basically the things I'm going to show you real quick.
Yes.
So the first thing is a bit lighthearted where it shows it's going to recap for everyone, get them up to speed on what's happened so far, but it's more the funny points.
Oh, and I can't wait for
Shit that's
Camilla.
And then,
That woman is
so
fucking.
I don't think she's the lead on it, but I think they're using her because obviously it's a bit more.
So smart.
It's a bit more aggressive if a male deposes her, so they've brought her in, and she's just killing it. She's very good at her job.
He's so smart.
But so this is
Updates.
the highlights.
Oh,
of-
11.
We don't have cameras.
Is that playing audio?
Sorry, we don't have cameras at the hallway. We don't have cameras on the hallway.
I'm going to show you what has been.
I don't know if you see him vape while he's being deposed.
Exhibit number
He has a
one,
vape.
Yeah.
Deposition.
She brought up the situation of her fecal matter on the bed.
Shit, I might.
And I, and she just tried to blame it on the dogs.
Oh, this is where she just gets straight booed as she leaves.
She's smiling.
Can you hear the crowd?
What are they saying?
They're just hurling abuse at her, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Opiate does. Your body no longer needs to make the dopamine or the serotonin. The dopamine and serotonin, as you know, I imagine, are things that keep us
Happy and relaxed and motivated.
It gives us our moods. It gives
I appreciate that, but my question wasn't that. My question was,
I'm just trying
right
to
after
school
you
you.
told the doctor.
He's trying to school you.
Yeah, so he's trying to explain drugs to him.
Yeah.
So the incident was May 21st, 2016. You saw her the night of May 25th, correct?
It's like Joe Pesci.
You didn't know what could cause damage to Mr. Depp's hand while you were there on March 8th, correct?
Dr. Kipper told me he sustained an injury on one of his
Well,
fingers.
objection, hearsay.
Hearsay.
You,
Yep.
you asked the question. Okay.
Like, did you ask the fucking question?
Injury to his finger.
How much time that you did move in with him?
Objection leading. Your Honor, I'm going to object on hearsay.
He's gonna, my co-star.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. Objection, hearsay. Her communications are hearsay.
I tried to say that it was fine.
Objection,
that it was-
hearsay.
I found out that he was in a hotel room with Paul
Objection,
Bettany.
hearsay.
Did you have with Lily Rose without saying anything she said?
Objection, hearsay.
I'm
Objection,
trying. I'm
meeting.
trying.
If we approach and then your kids in the car on the street, you can
Objection,
move it.
hearsay. That calls for hearsay, Your Honor.
When he finished filming, the plan was to do
Objection,
the
Your
full
Honor,
detox.
hearsay. Objection, form, compound.
And then you went in the house and saw Mr. Depp in the foyer, correct?
Yes, correct.
And Mr. Depp was trying to urinate in the foyer, wasn't he?
No.
Mr. Depp had his penis out of his
Objection.
pants, didn't he?
I think I remember.
Relevance.
Next question.
And you were trying to get Mr. Depp out of the house, correct?
Correct. I was trying to get Mr. Depp out of the house. Yes.
And Mr. Depp was refusing to leave the house, was he not?
Not so much refused. He just wanted 2 minutes to say his piece.
You took Mr.
And did you have any discussions with Miss Heard on the way to
I wasn't
Coachella
pausing.
that
This
evening?
looks too good. I haven't seen this one.
We had a conversation pertaining to the surprise she left in the boss's bed prior to leaving the apartment.
And when you refer to the surprise in the boss's bed, what are you referring to?
Oop.
The defecation.
What did Miss Heard say about the defecation in Mr. Depp's bed?
A horrible practical joke gone wrong.
It was a photograph of the
I might
bed.
pause there.
Our bed.
Are they going through something alright?
Huh?
And
Let me know when I
on
can pause.
The poop scene.
my side of the bed was human fecal matter.
Jesus. Watch the video podcast, guys.
I understood why it wasn't a good time to go down there. My initial response to that was
I'll pause it. So to drop a single deuce, like that wasn't like a proper shit. That was like half a deuce.
Yeah.
You know, like obviously when you've been on the drink, and we'll use the drink as our analogy.
Well, he used opiates as the
Yeah.
excuse before. He said,
Yeah, but I guess from our personal experience, since we all just drink alcohol,
Yes, of course. Legally.
like there'd be no way I could snap off a single deuce. Just like
I
that's
have.
that's like
Not in
half a
beds.
turd.
It's like
I've
if
done
you
that
need
before,
to,
but in toilets.
It's
Yeah.
I like just the
It's like if you
logical.
need to spit to make a point and there's not already something
Oh,
there. She
I
needs to
see.
do the shit to make a point. She,
She
didn't
was
have a shit to
asserting
do. She has
dominance.
to squeeze it out.
That's what monkeys do.
But so that's kind of the tone, I guess, of the first few months. So James hasn't really been abreast of most of it, and I kind of want to have it like holistic, so people that are listening as well can kind of catch up on how it's been. So it did start to get fairly serious kind of midway through his deposition because it centered a lot around like physical abuse and
Yeah.
things like that.
Was it claims that he had physically
That he was
abused her?
beating the shit out of her,
Yeah.
effectively, like consistently. And ironically enough, Peter has prepared her original deposition from 2016. Where are we? There we go.
Yes. And Camilla called it out on this too.
but
Fucking Camilla.
This leans into it was that long ago. I didn't realize she's had a kid since they've split up.
With Elon Musk.
Oh, is it Elon
With
Musk's
Elon
child?
Musk?
He has multiple babies.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That
You got to do
Elon
some
seed.
research into it.
There you go.
It's interesting stuff.
And I guess this is kind of giving a bit more insight into the pretty privileged thing too, because we were discussing pre-show. I guess a lot of people forget how objectively gorgeous she was when they first met, and I think the question I'm kind of asking you guys is, do you think she got away with kind of these sorts of behaviors and like the microaggressions and what seems to be like as you guys will hear later, the breeding of this super toxic, borderline just like it was like kerosene based relationship. If she wasn't objectively this hot, do you think someone like Johnny Depp, who is in situations where effectively, I think you guys would agree maybe that he has his kind of pick of who he kind of has in his inner circle?
That's why she wouldn't be there in the first place, were it not
Right.
for her appearance.
Yeah.
But also within the relationship, he's probably going to be a little bit more tolerant of that sort of behavior. You know, if you got a partner and you're like, oh, she's being a bit of a princess or a bit high maintenance, it's like, oh, well, you know.
It's kind of
expensive.
that, like, it's not setting the standard, but like you kind of almost expect it a little bit.
Yeah. And I think, if it occurs, you're like, well, that's the, price of maintenance on a vehicle like this.
And I think the reason it resonates with me is because I definitely know there's been situations, not with long-term relationships, but with like people that you meet, like they'll do really weird kind of what I'd call like aggressive stuff.
Can you?
You're right?
Yeah, I'm just
yeah. No, I thought you were going to burp off mic, so I was like, I'll let you do that.
I've been doing that already.
Yes.
God, so good.
And like, so little, I guess for me, it starts with like little comments. So you'll hear the other person say something like, oh, that was a bit weird. And they're usually maybe it's to do more with me personally, but I've kind of maybe said something as a joke and had like a really aggressive response.
Can you give an example just so I have context about what you mean?
So we'll go with the famous cunt face.
I know that one well.
And so it was to do with, it was a grand final day thing.
Yeah.
And we just started seeing each other and stuff. And I had to duck out. It was grand final day, I think. Or there was a big footy game or something. We were all catching up and I'd baked the lasagna and stuff to take to the lads because being the only wog in the group.
You provide.
I'd bring the lasagna. It's not racist
Otherwise
at all.
there's no lasagna.
That's right.
Can't have that.
And we've been hanging out and stuff, and the expectation was set that, look, I'll stay over, whatever, but I got to leave and I got to get there on time because it's like a thing, people are waiting for me. And the little jabs started like fairly early on, and these
What
little
kind of
pokes
jabs?
and stuff.
How do they look? How do they
like,
sound?
oh, you better hurry up because you've got to leave and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, okay, I think she's just joking.
So a bit of passive aggressive sort of commentary.
Yeah, and then that started to kind of ramp up.
Yeah.
Into the more, I can't believe you're going to hang out with your mates, blah blah blah, and like we've been spending together. She basically tried to leverage sex as well, like because we kind of mucked around in the morning but hadn't had sex, and then like it was building and kind of thing, and I was like,
yeah.
One thing that I'd noticed was like maybe because I had control of my sexuality, maybe she felt a bit disarmed, and that was a bit like why she was like, how is he like half banging me and then like leaving and all this sort of stuff.
So would she use it to get you to stick around? And
she was definitely using that to get me to stay, for sure. But I was like, I got to go. Like, I was already late. I was quite late.
I love that. Look, I love you, but if I'm going to be late, not the time. I've got lasagna in the oven.
The cheese is
time
just
to
going
go.
golden brown. It's time to pull it out and go.
In my defense, I made sure the lasagna was fine before. James, it was all good. It was spoiled up and ready to go.
Didn't have time to come, but the lasagna was fucking golden brown. Yeah.
Nerds can pump too, all right?
That's the t-shirt's coming. They won't know.
You actually made one?
No. I can do it. That's really easy.
You should.
Remind me because I forgot.
I will forget. You're asking the wrong person.
It's recorded now. It's in the ether. But then it was literally to the point where it was hyper aggressive and like, I can't believe you're leaving. This is ridiculous.
This isn't fair. How dare you? Don't love me kind of comments. Yeah.
And I remember, and I'm not even saying she was objective, like she didn't hold a candle to Amber Heard is
next level.
Different league. But I think because with my rose-colored glasses, I was affirming her so much more because at that point in time, I was like oh my God, she's so hot, blah, 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 like that sort of thing. And I was just allowing someone, like if one of my mates had said that shit to me, like, you're a fucking douchebag, what are you leaving for, blah, 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 but like kept going and got like pointed, I'd be like, dude, what the fuck's your problem? And I think...
But do you think that was just purely based on attraction, or was it also the fact that there's a connection and you love this person? Because I think that also
there was no
influences.
love. No love in this relationship. On the record, no love.
But you had an affinity for this person and you cared for this person. Whether or not it was cared for or healthy is a different question. What I
think
mean
she's
is
been listening. I'm
moment,
just making sure that's clearly because
you're
I've
not
seen...
loved. Right?
Never love.
No.
Never going back. Yeah.
But in the sense of like, so the way that I guess I'm hearing it, right, is... I definitely think... Oh, look, I'll share my opinion first and then relate back to what you've just said. I do think that pretty privilege is a thing that exists. I don't think there's any way or point in denying that, but I do think to a certain extent it only gets you so far.
Yeah.
So pretty privilege is a thing. People do tend to get jobs more often. They do tend to get, more social invites. There's a lot more of that. The literature supports that. It's absolutely a real thing.
Yeah, it's still pretty vague. I was looking at some papers, and it's
no. There's a lot of research
stuff.
Yeah,
Yes,
there is.
Okay, because
and if you wear the color red, you're more likely to get asked on dates, but you're more likely to be perceived as stupid. So if I ever want to be considered sexually attractive, I'll just wear red, but then people will think that I'm dumber.
That's fucked.
Yeah, but it's a thing.
Also cool.
That's the way it works. But halo bias would be something that you'd want to look into for research in terms of that. But it is a thing. So then acknowledging that and pretty privilege being real, when you're in a relationship, there are two things that I'd be questioning with the example that you said. Firstly, is it all my bros, and this is once again kind of tying it back to a little bit of toxic masculinity, but just the whole bro culture of my girlfriend's pretty fucking hot. All my boys know that. If they know that
speaking,
this is
also, if you're listening, not anymore, and by comparison, not hot at all. But anyway,
love that for you and love the validation. She is a fucking queen. I love your girl. She is just yes. But on the note of
different leagues,
agreed completely. But in the broader sense of
different sport.
In the broader sense of how someone acts and how they are, right?
Yeah.
So let's say your mates, you got mates, they go, oh, yeah, you got a pretty hot girlfriend, sure, maybe out of your league. In this theory, right? Now let's just speak objectively, not in this scenario.
Yeah, objectively she wasn't, though.
And then your thought perception would possibly be skewed of, oh, well, I don't really want to talk to the boys about this, or I don't want them to know how this relationship is panning out because she's so hot. Look, social status boys, right? That's one theory that it could be. The which falls into the pretty privilege axis. The next one is social status on your in and of itself of this person makes my ranks look higher. So what would happen if I looked like I was lower on the ranks if I already perceived myself as lower?
Yes.
And then the third one there is just taking out pretty privilege and going, when you love someone, you are more likely to forgive them for the things that they do and their behaviors. Point in example right here is I stayed in a relationship with someone that treated me like absolute shit because not because I believe that they were attractive or God. He's a handsome human, absolutely. But because I loved him and low self-worth, I was willing to put up with that. And I think in this instance, because they both have selective traumas, there was a trauma bond that had formed. And when you're in that, a codependent relationship is very hard to get out of. I don't think pretty privilege.
Do you think that got her in the door, maybe, with like the
pretty
weird stuff at the start?
Absolutely, because he wouldn't have been attracted to her otherwise.
Yeah.
But I think it stopped at that point.
And when it like starts to escalate like deeper. So the pooing the bed and stuff, it's way past that.
Yeah, when you
this is the connection.
If you're in a relationship, you're not going to lower your standards you're not going to change your boundaries based on how attractive someone is, because once they're in the door, once you've made that decision, I'm going to commit myself to this person.
That's what I'm saying though. Do you think the level of pretty gets them in the door with the sort of stuff that maybe if someone wasn't as attractive as them and they did it, you'd be more perceptive?
I don't think that I would. I guess maybe it varies from person to person, because for me, I'm like, if they're in the door, they're in the door. You're either in or you're out, right? I'm not like, oh, she's like 80% what I'm after, so fucking move in. Like, let's make a thing of this.
But it's more that it's not, you're not aware. So because you can be so enamored or like, it changes the judgment based on...
I think for me, getting to that level of enamorment, of getting that enamored with somebody... It has to have gone beyond. They've got the foot in the door because of their attractiveness, but beyond that point,
but you don't think you would miss things because of it? Like,
no, I wouldn't be like, oh, miss, like she's got a fucking tight ass, or like,
no, I'm not saying that. Like, so you know, like, so the first date or whatever.
Oh, that you wouldn't pick things up because of it,
and like I call it like the Larry David effect, right? Like, you know how he's like really neurotic and he like sees everything.
Yeah.
Whereas like,
but it's only about getting in the door, because there would be, you would see. You do see red flags.
Yeah.
You see a red flag and you're like, yeah, but that's whatever. But I think that once there's that decision to let someone in, then all of that shit goes out the window. Anything to do, the attractiveness is just to attract someone in the first place. And then to actually connect with someone on a deeper level and stay with them. It's about something entirely different other than their appearance.
I concur 110%.
That's why it's called attractiveness.
Yeah. Because for me, it's emotional attractiveness. I will look at someone. I like my literal type. There is no such thing in my physical like attractiveness. I will find there is not a selective type. Emotionally unavailable, yes. But physicality wise, no. So if they look pretty, well, I mean, I know my type. Come on, we know the
pretty
facts.
can be objective. That's more what I mean. Is like once they hit that thing for you,
if they're in, then I will actively engage with them. But most of the time, it's not just that. Like for me, the way that I engage interest, I can look at someone that's handsome and go, yeah, they're handsome or they're pretty. But it's a matter of if I see them talking and they get really excited and there's a little passionate look in their eye, I'm like, okay, I want to engage with that person and talk with them. If I feel the connection through a conversation, and maybe it's just me being a little bit different in the sense that attractiveness is not, it is subjective, but for me, physicality isn't important. I know some girls that need dudes with abs. I'm like, it's a so-so issue. I don't really care. Dad bods are kind of hotter anyway. But like in the broad, for me personally, not for everyone, in the broader sense of things, it's exactly what James said. The attractiveness gets you to the door. It gets you to the date. And I think on the first few dates, yes, it does allow red flags to be filtered in. You're
that
like,
allows
that
allows you to get into that space. This is what I'm saying. Like once it's almost like once the deflector shields are down,
status, right?
Then the amount of girls that he
like Leonardo DiCaprio too. People that with high social status that are wealthy, that are attractive, that are relatively intelligent and talented, they're going to have that field of eligibles where they're only matching in with people of a similar caliber. She already was in the door. She didn't have to work that hard for it. When they made a connection, the attractiveness stuff goes away. Because of that deeper level of connection, you're having more intimate conversations. You're getting to know each other personally, which then builds up the ammo, which is exactly what I'd say is more destructive.
Yeah, so I wasn't more about the destructive nature. It was more just like that pretty privilege allows the deflector shields to come down and then get the hooks in, I guess.
In the initial stages, though, is what you're saying?
And it gets you into a certain space where you've bypassed what sort of filters you may have.
I know what you're saying. So if you meet someone who you're not enamored with immediately on a intellectual
and they do some weird shit
or whatever it is sort of scale. If they were more attractive, would they be more palatable for a longer period of time?
Your walls and stuff, and then all of a sudden you're like, fuck, I'm in this really fucking toxic area.
I guess it's like
I don't know how we ended up here.
It's like a game of one of those, I don't know, Magic the Gathering or something, where you hand out like a whole bunch of cards with these different attributes at the start of the thing, and it's like, you ain't got shit in this area, but in this area, fucking charisma or something.
But it's literally, even like for another card game analogy, it's like she activates her trap card like 4 days in, and you're like, fuck, man. Like,
she's a really cute pussy.
Yeah, she activated Cunt of the Infinite. And you're like, oh my God, what happened? Like, she's pooing in my bed and like throwing bottles at my hand. Like, to get what I was trying to see through this whole thing was how a dude who's probably had more dating experience than half of the world combined, right? He's had so many different social scenarios.
But I think that's what I'm drawing into your question, because you're basically saying like, the level of fucking bullshit is here, and her hotness is here, and it's like, I don't think that it only gets that ridiculous because she's that hot.
Crazy to hot
the craziness thing is a totally separate thing, and there'd be plenty of uglier women and men who've got away with far crazier things.
But I guess more would that have worked in this scenario, like someone that is not as attractive as her. I
think if she was less attractive, she wouldn't have got in the first place. As to whether he would have called it sooner, it's possible. It's possible it's a different type of relationship. Where
you know
it's
what they say about like the crazy people, man? Like the sex is just ridiculous.
You're welcome.
So like, it's like because Johnny Depp's dating history prior to her, they weren't unattractive by any stretch of the means. But because he was married for quite a while and has like 2 kids or 3 kids with
Lily.
her. And it seems to be like a very loving, nurturing relationship. So I feel like he got like that crazy puss that he hasn't had forever. And that's like an extra layer on top of everything, where it's like all of these conflicting emotions where you're like, I don't know what's going on. Everything's kind of like, I'm getting aggressive, she's getting aggressive, but like things keep happening.
It's also passionate.
Because that's the thing is, I want to play you like the things that the audio tapes, because he did the recordings and stuff.
Yeah.
And like some of the stuff that he was like hearing and being said to him. And he just like, he wanted to see his kid. And she was just like, they've got the logs of just her like fucking, it's just texts for like 20 minutes of like, answer your phone, I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
And then appearing where he was and wouldn't let him pass to see his kid.
But when you're in a situation like that, it can seem like once this one crazy episode ends, you know, it's going to be fine after that.
Yeah.
And in a certain sense, you can go through
He does say that. He's like,
a series of, you can go through a series of crazy episodes where you're like, fuck, you know, I can't believe that just happened. But it fucking doesn't make any logical sense. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's come from an emotional place. It's come from a place of insecurity. Maybe you know about that person's history and you care about them and you understand and you're like, oh, this person has only done that because of this reason. Yeah. And to that end, that's why
makes it hard.
And that's why a lot of people end up protecting people like this.
That's how codependency begins.
Johnny Depp wouldn't have gone out and been like, this bitch is fucking crazy, you know.
No, it's like, I love her. I understand her through all of her trauma.
Yeah, when the dogs thing happened, you know, for the first time.
Oh my God,
like,
I remember that in Australia.
Oh. Yeah, it's like, oh, there's trouble in paradise. Like, oh, these, you know, married. And then you saw this fucking video that looked like a fucking... Looks like a hostage video or
their
something.
apology was so vague.
Yeah, it looked so weird.
Fucked.
And you could tell something was going on. But again, he wouldn't have just came out and been like, dude, look how hot she is. She's fucking crazy. Like, because, it wasn't, he would have just, it's like turning the temperature up in the frog in the water. You know, you drop a frog into boiling water, it jumps out.
Yeah.
Put it in cold water and heat it up. And it fucking...
Slowly
cooks. Yeah, it doesn't
That's a very good analogy, actually. I like that. Now, I guess with this one, because it's a 15-minute interview, I think it's covered in one of my other videos, but I'll just play a little bit of it.
You ever punch Johnny Depp with a closed fist in the history of your relationship with Johnny?
Answer it however you feel.
She gives an answer away without.
Oh yeah, she panics.
One
she
time,
fucks up.
Johnny was hitting me, and he was hitting me hard and repeatedly. And I was screaming.
She's such a bad actress.
Security walked in
really
and
obvious.
They don't do anything about it.
It's different to a normal acting brief, though. It's not more on the line.
He makes this motion
But you'd think it
when
would be
Jerry
more
tries to yell, "Boss,"
honest.
or Sean.
You know what I mean? Like if you look at
who it was, and
like there's just so much more than what you
all we
need.
had was a little bit of separation, and my sister runs down the stairs. We're on a landing in between two flights of stairs.
Miss Heard, I must interrupt you because I've asked you a yes or
Then
no question.
withdraw your question then, because
Miss
she's
Heard,
answering.
And they base
prior
on the
to
physicality of her
today's
recall.
Had any time
Also, she'd be...
have you ever
The whole
hit
spectacle
Johnny Depp?
would be so stressful that you don't know
You've
how
already asked, and
you would
she's already
act
answered,
or
and
speak.
you interrupted her.
Yeah,
Miss Heard,
looking
have you
at
ever
like
hit
a
Johnny
lot of
Depp prior to today?
serial killer things. I guess they're
Serial killer thing's different,
yeah.
This is different.
But there's a lot of similarities.
If you were trying to defend your righteousness, if someone's attacking you and saying you're this type of a person.
Answer it however you want to, including the way you were just...
I'm asking for a yes or no answer.
You don't have to answer it the way she wants you to.
This one goes on for a little bit.
He was about
keep
to
going.
push my
I was
sister
trying
Maybe
to
almost...
Jesus, there we go.
It'd be almost as difficult to be measured when defending yourself as it would be about raising an allegation against someone, I think.
Oh yeah, the donation moment.
So this is the key point that I wanted to cover as well. So the whole thing with the initial divorce settlement was she received $7 million. And then because the media was being evil and saying that she just wants his fucking money and all this sort of stuff, she's like, no, I'm going to donate it all to like 5 different charities and all this sort of shit.
She never did?
So she pledges that she did, and then used the defenses, I've pledged it, but then he started suing me, so I didn't donate the money.
I need to hold on to it in case I needed to protect my...
But they have the timelines of all of this stuff and things like this when she was on Dutch TV and said this.
These guys don't fuck around.
dollars. People were saying this is all about the money, but then you did something that twisted that whole argument. What did you do with that money?
$7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
Didn't I send you this?
I think I'd seen it, but you've sent me something in the video. Has she said that already? Oh, is this the... Yes.
More power to you, because that's something that I've never heard
I wanted
of.
nothing.
Emma, are you happy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the big thing with this in court was that she then said that she used the word pledge and donate interchangeably, when obviously pledging is a completely different term to that.
Pledging is promising to donate.
Yeah, so that when you pledge something,
giving the money.
Yeah, you haven't given it yet. And then she tried to liken it to when you buy a house, you don't buy it straight away, you have a mortgage. But when you donate money, you very much so donate the money when you have the money. And then she'd been given over $700K by the time she'd said that she hadn't been able to donate any of it or had any money, etc. But so a lot of her stuff is starting to come unhinged, where she's definitely trying to paint herself out like she's some fucking crusader,
faultless saint.
And very much a victim of domestic violence and all this sort of stuff. When all the contrary is to the fact where that A, there was no domestic violence. B, you've said you're going to donate to all these things that would stop against domestic violence, and you've kept the money. The narrative that you were suing him for his money, and that the money didn't matter to you, is now false, because you have the money and you haven't donated money, and your only reasoning to not have donated the money is that you can't right now.
Yeah.
And that you've pledged to do that and will do that. It's like Trump with the wall. We'll build the wall. Time's over. He didn't build the fucking wall.
Yeah. Had every opportunity to build the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has the 7 mil currently.
Yeah.
TikToks that I sent.
She gonna need that because she's in trouble. There's no audio to that, yeah?
There is audio to that.
No, I'm sorry. I meant currently for you guys.
Oh.
No.
Next on the list, Peter.
Testify that Johnny Depp
This is her psychologist.
I can testify that he had physical acts of violence perpetrated on him, as well as psychological aggressive acts perpetrated upon him.
We don't want to lose our license, honey.
Oh, damn. Amber will be furious.
I just love the commentary on TikTokers. They're fucking great. There's a few more that were uploaded too.
Oh, so I've got the footage, as well as because the big thing was she was like, Johnny's super jealous, and he's always like really possessive, and tried to burn a painting from her ex that I think she's possibly seeing now anyway.
Yeah.
They managed to find a bunch of footage in an area where they were staying with a few humans that I don't know if we'll recognize them. But where is the footage? Okay. I can't believe some of the shit they got, man. Like, it's fucking crazy.
The
like
footage,
elevator footage from like hotels and shit, being like,
Yeah, of
who the
course.
fuck's that, dude?
This is bigger than Jeffrey Epstein.
It's
You can
exactly.
fucking pull that
Fuck
footage.
that guy.
Love Camilla.
Oh, there's no audio.
There will be. It's just showing.
No, I don't think there is. I could see their lips moving and there was no noise.
Yeah, there was no audio for this because I remember being like half asleep and I'm like, what the fuck's going on, bro? 22:56. Pretty late.
10:56.
You can hear some like background noise in the.
Yeah, just like they're breathing.
We can just
Yeah,
cover it
someone
with the
breathing and
dulcet
moving
tones
around.
Just
of the
Sort of
IrrPlatPod.
breathing noises, yeah.
This is definite puss hour, right? Like,
Oh, it's
moving
only
around.
11.
Just in a gown.
Yeah, but that's when you're queuing up for your
And
your
barefoot.
Yeah,
vlogs,
true.
right?
Yeah.
Show us where she gets some dick.
Oh, was that? Wait, what are they saying, dudes?
Nothing.
Oh, here we go.
Nothing.
We're coming back. So she's left for a little bit. Oh, she's
It was
going
like
to
less
get
than a minute.
someone.
Oh, she's letting someone into the building.
Maybe. Into which building?
Given that it's only about a 2-minute time frame, I would say yes, that sounds
Yeah.
accurate.
Now I don't know. There's two people that have.
Is this cut?
A short boy.
That's that, ladies and gentlemen, is James Franco.
Oh, what?
My man! I wonder what he's...
Back to the camera, too.
He's coming down with a hat down.
You're going to say John Mayer. Thought it was going to be John Mayer.
It definitely, I feel like he'd have been in that pool.
Yeah.
That's pretty close just to be chilling at like 10:30.
Yeah.
So that was one of the...
And breathing's back.
That's you and Mr. Franco on May.
Skip that. Do we have any
See
more
you and
for
Mr.
time?
Franco.
Yeah, a little bit more.
This might be is it the same day? Might be the
Yes,
same
it
day.
is the same day.
How many hours later?
6 minutes earlier, actually.
Oh, is it? Ooh,
There's
thanks,
Ted
James.
Danson
You and Mr.
now.
Depp was out of town the week of May 29th.
Taking out the trash.
I don't know what I knew of his schedule.
What the fuck was that?
Some dude taking out the trash.
It's just them looking back through the videos, so they were probably just using computering systems on that end.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
My TikToks.
Yes,
Camilla.
I'm just making sure there's no... Okay, cool. So that was more evidence that they were throwing to be like, well, maybe the dude was jealous because...
You should have seen the
You
video.
have dudes rocking up to your house at 10:30 at night that infamously fuck a lot.
Yeah, but it's also
And
got
currently have
nothing
issues
to
because they
do.
fuck too much.
That's got nothing to do with the other case at hand. Like, if I was the legal defense, I'd be saying he's not doing that shit. Especially if the
she
claim
swore
was that he
that
wasn't.
He was insanely jealous and then therefore violent when these episodes were occurring. They're more just saying...
So they're saying he was never violent. But
Yeah.
they're saying, are they disputing that he was jealous? And they're saying he was jealous.
They're
and
saying,
acted
well,
as
he was
such.
jealous with cause.
With cause. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fair enough.
Because, she's clearly...
They also had a really fun little snippet as well where they brought out this picture where Amber had taken a photo of the bed that would have been broken, saying that she was slammed. Yes. And there was a pocket knife on the
Yes.
bed. And
I was trying to find it, I couldn't find it.
Oh, I wish I sent it to you because I did have it.
She gets her on the fucking stand and she's like, do you see this thing where there's like a little thing cut out of the bed? And then she's like,
you cut that, didn't you? With this pocket knife. And Amber Heard's like, what? No. Like, pretty much like, fuck, what? And then she like zooms in onto the
And
photo
she's
of
like,
the
"You see
fucking
that
pocket
pocket
knife.
knife
Like,
on
you see
the
that?
bed?
And oh man.
And then
she always
she's like,
she always says excuse me when
Yeah.
she's getting called out on something. It's
Buying some time.
hilarious.
And followed up with the because she took photos of that. And she's like, and you said you were hit and then you were bleeding and you were
It's
bleeding
like,
all
where's
over
the
the
blood?
bed.
Why didn't you take photos
And
of the
she's
blood?
like, but you didn't take any photos of the blood on the bed, did you? Like, no. But like the bed that
It's
got
so
chunked
good.
up like with a knife next. But just even the craziness of like,
Oh, and
The
even the
bed's
coke,
broken, but there's
the
no
coke
blood, but
photos
then
as
there's
well.
a-
She's like, as an addict, smokers and drinkers would have more than one cigarette in an ashtray. Cocaine users and cocaine addicts would not have 4 lines racked up and leave them there.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and
she's
take
like,
a photo of it. This is one of the ones you sent me, yeah?
yeah, all of them are
Objection, Your Honor. Leading.
amazing.
She absolutely did that. Medical records too.
Objection, Your Honor. Lack of foundation.
I'm trying. To your nose.
Objection. Leading.
What, I said,
Foundation.
what if anything,
Hearsay.
It's with the ENT.
Objection, Your Honor. Lack of foundation.
Discovery in this
Objection,
case.
Your Honor. Lack of foundation. Calls for speculation.
About your nose.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay. Objection. Leading.
Recall that
Objection, Your
question.
Honor. Leading. Objection. Leading and hearsay.
Because that dude's her boss up front too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was looking pissed
She's going to be
off
making
as-
partner.
Objection, Your Honor. Leading. Calls for speculation.
There was a couple before where he's just like,
Lack of foundation.
fuck's sake.
Examination.
I thought that he was on, I thought she was on the, of course. Yeah, I thought she was on the other side because you could see him rolling his eyes and just being like, fuck.
Here we go again. All right, and the next one.
Mr. Depp mentions Aquaman, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Mr. Depp got you that role in Aquaman, didn't he?
Excuse me?
Mr. Depp got you that role in Aquaman, didn't he?
No, Miss Vasquez, I got myself that role by auditioning. I do not know when James came over.
Okay, let's remind you. Can we please pull up plaintiff's cycle? Your testimony is now that Mr.
22nd
Depp
of the
does drugs in
5th,
front of his children.
2016.
Well, first of all, I know he does. Second of all, it wouldn't.
It's just so crazy, man.
And this just this is the pocket knife one. Yes, I did
Is this
have
the
it.
pocket knife one, or is this the
Look,
one where
no, it's the
she
bed.
Remember where she lies that she leaked the shit to TMZ? And she panics on camera?
I sent you that as well, though.
Yeah, okay, cool.
But
it's coming up. I missed that one.
Sure that you indicated depicts the broken bed, right?
That's exactly it.
And it's your testimony that Mr. Depp causes damage to the bed with his boot, right?
He did.
Is that a pocket knife on the bed there?
I cannot tell what's on the bed.
Did you use that to damage the bed?
I did not damage the bed. Johnny's boot did when he was punching me. I could feel him slipping.
Mr. Do you also testify that there was blood all over the pillows on the bed, correct?
On the pillow top, yes. That's correct.
But you didn't take a picture of that, though, did you?
I did not take a picture of this.
Mr. This is a picture.
Like, just
hectic
she's
shit, dude.
so
Like,
fucking good.
I just can't
I
believe
want
that
her to
good.
like fuck me
It's
up a
not
little
that
bit.
good. It's not really that good because
It's
she's taking a
basic
photo
knowledge.
of a damaged bed that apparently got damaged in an altercation.
Yeah.
During which there was blood that ended up on the bed.
Yeah.
She's taking a
I
picture
meant
of the bed.
Camilla.
Left
Not,
it. Oh, Camilla.
why would I be?
Yeah, that's what.
I thought you meant she's so
what
good.
the
No,
fuck
she's
am
a
I
fucking
praising
idiot,
Amber
man.
for? She's like a fucking.
That is
no.
ridiculous.
Think about every time you guys have had arguments with people. How bad would you not want these people with you and be like, actually, sorry, Peter.
It's like, I got the red receipts.
On the 15th, you actually said this, this, and this.
Yeah.
That's me
You
with my
have these.
episodic
Yeah,
But honestly, if she hadn't made that documentary evidence in the first place, they wouldn't be showing anything in the courtroom, and it'd all just be hearsay, and all this fucking shit would get thrown out.
That's
She's
it.
literally brought her on herself by recording this stuff.
Let me see if I can find it real quick. Amber Heard admitting she leaked the video to
TMZ. Yes. Oh gosh. Camilla called her out on it. Yeah,
Camilla.
maybe
That one?
that third one.
This
No,
one?
no, one above.
I reckon it's that one. Yeah, is that what look at the face? She does it.
Yeah, but I think it's the one above that where
This one?
she's actually in court and then that thing
Gets
comes
angry.
out.
This one? Are we committing to this one? Let's do it. I trust you.
I don't.
8.5 minutes.
No! Back out. All right, next one. Let's go. What's this
31
one?
Oh, it said 8 minutes 31.
Did you
minutes?
send a text message to Jerry Judge on May 24,
She's being questioned
2016,
by Camilla there.
telling Jerry Judge, quote, I'm
Telling you,
desperately
man.
trying
That's like burn the
to
boat
reach
off.
She looks like a baby
Johnny.
there.
It's extremely important. Please tell him.
I remember sending the text message that is in front of me right now to Jerry, and I remember sending this because I wanted to tell Johnny or have him told by Jerry or someone who knew him or was close to him. Basically, I didn't want him to find out online that I had or was about to file or I had already filed for divorce. I wanted him to know verbally. So I was trying to reach him through a third party to tell him. When I say reach, I'm specifically saying I would like him to know information coming from me or coming from Jerry, from me, so that he finds out about the divorce filing or my intention to do so.
Jesus.
From some other source other
This is
than
a
TMZ,
long-winded
which was
way of
alerted.
explaining
So, like,
something that could
there, so that was the tick.
Yeah.
That was a tick when she realized she fucked up.
You slipped up
I
there,
didn't even
didn't you,
notice
Ms.
it.
Heard?
I just love that.
You let it slip out that TMZ had been alerted to your filing of the domestic violence restraining order, didn't you?
I disagree. That's not what I'm talking about.
TMZ is
look
the
at-
same
She keeps
outlet
looking
that
to
you
the left
released
where
the
the
video of
jury is
Mr. Depp
too.
attacking.
But she would have been coached to do that. Any good lawyer would be like, you need to look at them all the time.
No, but any good lawyer is smart enough to also know that Johnny's not doing it. You're not actually supposed to be doing that. It weakens your
but you want
defense
them-
to be speaking to the jury because you're supposed to be
As a
speaking
guy, I
to
think it's better not to look at them because you can intimidate. But I think with her, she's looking for sympathy, right?
Yeah.
But like, I missed it. But if you
From
look at
some
like,
other source other than
she freaks
TMZ,
out. She's
which
covering
was
her
alerted.
yeah, you.
It's like, fuck.
How's that for a tick and a half, though, man? Like that's full on.
You slipped up there, didn't you?
But to like leak that shit on yourself, man.
Yeah.
Well, that
She's
happens.
the worst.
You can't keep up with lies. So
There you go.
truth
The strongest
spills.
witness against Amber is Amber.
It's completely hectic. So I think there's another thing in 3 days, but it looks to be done and dusted. As obviously her lawyer, she's like, I'm trying. Like she's fucking giving up, man. That's what do you do? But I think it's very important that this took the course that it did.
Yes.
because I had conversations with people that were very much, he's a 60-year-old man in this relationship. She's so much younger, you know, the authoritarian sort of thing, and he's this kind of sort of feeds into the generic like controlling dude sort of thing, and you're just playing into female stereotypes and this and that. And it's one thing that I preach on almost every episode of the podcast is we need to come into these things equally. And what I said from the very start was that the relationship was super toxic.
Yeah.
Of course.
Both ends.
But don't ever condemn a dude for being a dude, just like you wouldn't condemn a chick for being a chick. We need to see what's happening, and we need to find out everything. Especially if someone loses a finger or has violent things against them, I think if she had a dismembered body part, he'd be in prison currently.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
No doubt about it.
Whereas this thing, if he had done anything, there would have been criminal charges.
Yeah.
I'd say if it was that violent, you know, and I guess
But I think that's also the thing when the topic's, you know, domestic violence or abuse, it triggers a lot of things for people. And so a lot of the people that I've seen defending Amber Heard or speaking out against the TikToks that have been made against her, or even saying, you know, negative things against Johnny Depp, almost seem to be saying it possibly not because of the specifics of this case. They're probably reading into it what they want to read into it. And they hear domestic abuse, and they hear violence, and they hear an older man, how much more money he makes, how much more established he is, and they go, oh, look, that's just like that power dynamic that I've seen before.
Yeah, correct.
And even if you were even if you had nothing to do with any of this, and you were just looking at it and you were like, oh, look, it's another case of a man being violent or you know, committing an assault.
Exactly.
And so it would be easy to be triggered on that level. And then sometimes when, you know, you can come back and say, oh, well, hang on a minute, look at the specifics of this case. And you're like, yeah, well, fuck that off. Because do you know what it's like being a woman? I can't even be on my own at after dark, which, again, is like a valid thing to be concerned about.
Definitely, but not a ruling law by which you should invalidate.
Once the label is invoked and you say sexual assault, abuse, domestic violence, then, straight away it's going to be talking about a whole lot more different things for people. Whereas that's not sort of the news out of this, I don't think. I think, you know, there's a lot of this type of thing goes on a lot more than it seems. And it's almost like, this is almost, I wouldn't say it's the knee jerk or the response or the reaction to, you've had Me Too. You've had this situation where anybody can make any sort of a claim. And that's been fantastic because a lot of people have had license and the space to make claims, have their story heard, to bring something out and not feel attacked for it. But it's also opened up the door of, you know, we went from a place where people wouldn't listen to claims, or they would slut shame or victim shame, or they'd say, look, you know, it's because you wore that outfit and you were asking for it or something. Then it's got to the point where anyone can say anything, whatever they want, and then no one's allowed to question it because it's like, well, hang on a minute, this is another one of those, remember those women who couldn't say shit? Well, fucking now someone's saying something, so you better listen to them.
And that was the initial reaction to this stuff, was as soon as like, oh, you know, like, how dare you say anything about Amber Heard trying to vilify her and all this sort of stuff, because, you know, like, she's made these claims, and then like, why is the media trying to make her look bad? And that's the thing too.
Meanwhile, he's an abuse victim.
And we've just overlooked it because he has a cock. And it's like,
or you get to this situation where you've got, you know, and I don't know about this case, but you've got two people who are both probably being mistreated by their partner. And no one's really abusing anybody. They've got mental health issues, and they've got things going on in their lives, and they've got all this stuff happening. But as you've got here, you've got third parties involvement who are saying, oh, well, you should be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. What's that you said he did? Oh, well, if that's what he's doing, then he's a criminal, you know. And so, exactly right. And that's based on what someone's told you that's happened. And she's obviously got mental health issues. The way that she's relating what's happening to her is probably not what's happening. And even if she didn't have mental health issues, people do that all the time.
And especially taking that as kind of their governing voice almost. So she's saying it's happening, therefore it's almost like he gets painted into this corner when all the evidence was precluding to him being the one that's been assaulted, but you overlook it because of the environment that we have.
Yeah.
So the way the systems are set up and stuff, the guy had physical marks, and a lot of guys don't have those physical marks because a lot of these situations, the women aren't or the other partner isn't as explosive as someone like an Amber Heard, where there is actually the violence.
Doesn't cut his finger off. She just throws something at him and misses.
Think about all the guys now that are actually in the reverse scenario that don't have that evidence or don't have the $1 million legal team to do that.
Yeah. Indeed. That is quite the tongue twister. I won't try and read it out loud.
But yeah, I think, I hope, like you said, that this sets a precedent to come into these situations looking at all the evidence, and that when things like this drop, the aggressor in the scenario, if the evidence doesn't support that, isn't locked down into a scenario where they're, regardless of outcome, perceived to be villainish.
Yeah. I just wish that there was a situation where people could say, I'm not going to be able to get the objective facts about this situation, and would realize that no matter what, by getting involved in this, because there is some value to this, right? The issues of, there's a lot of people who wouldn't have known what borderline personality disorder or histrionic personality disorder was before this. There'd be people who would be in toxic or abusive relationships who wouldn't realize that's what's going on for them, and they could see something like this. That could be an issue, or they could see that for a friend of theirs and go, oh, hang on a minute. I saw this thing similar to what's happening to you. So it could raise awareness about the issue. But as far as getting involved in the ins and outs of something that you'll never know.
The whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah. The interest here is in what did she bother to record, or what did they miss out on recording, or she took the photo but there was a fucking pocket knife on the bed.
Yeah.
But where was the blood that she said should have been there?
Correct.
So it's all this.
And the thing of him recording, it's like, why are you recording? What's the scenario up until you start recording?
That's what I mean. And all of that,
you can bait someone and then start recording and make yourself look like an angel.
Yeah, right? And all of that's so abstract from the issue that would be of any value to you or I. Whereas what's actually happening is the media is making a massive fucking show trial of this thing, because there was Jeffrey Epstein's trial recently. Didn't hear shit about that.
Too many influential people in that one, my friend.
Yeah, but now they're like, oh, get a load of this. And it happens at the same time they're playing the other battle of the sexes of the Wade versus Roe. And again, it's another ridiculous, absurd fucking debate, and they're just throwing up all this fear stuff, saying, no one's ever going to be able to get an abortion again in the entire US. They'll be criminals, and it's like, it's actually not what's going on. You're just trying to stir up this whole thing about there's more men on the fucking Supreme Court than there are women, and it's like, it's true, and that's fucked, but don't try and trigger people's feelings about inequality to make an issue about something else.
They try and look for the illicit of the emotion, and then you get the investment, follows up, and then you get both of us being like, isn't this fucking crazy?
Yeah. Me sitting here going like, oh, anyone who's got an opinion on this and talks about it's a fucking idiot. But then we're all sitting here with opinions and talking about it.
How are you? But I guess with what was the complex thing? The disorder that...
Borderline
personality. Histrionic personality.
Can you explain what that is? Because I don't know what that is fully.
So I'll start by explaining what cluster B personality disorders are, because etiology and that kind of stuff.
What's etiology?
Just like how things come to be, like the history, prevalence,
I'm going to ask all the dumb
stuff.
questions.
That's not dumb at all.
Yeah.
And why are we starting with cluster B personality?
So because they are often comorbid together.
Okay.
So they co-occur.
And that means they happen together, yeah? Yeah.
Yes. So basically, cluster B personality disorders are part of the DSM, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. We're at number 5 TR as our latest version. Now, personality disorders often reflect individuals who across multiple areas of functioning are struggling. So occupational, sexual, emotional, social, all of those kinds of things are encompassed within that.
So work, sex life, social life, that was it?
Emotions, home life, like just generalized across all environments, essentially. And cluster B in particular is marked by like instability, difficulty with social relationships, difficulty with connection, identity, and emotional regulation. It's categorized often as that erratic and labile sort of emotional flow.
And so labile is that
lability
erratic?
is just up and down, essentially the volatility of which emotions kind of can throw themselves.
That's such fancy words. I love it. Best.
It's fun to throw them around.
Dope, man.
I don't have an itchy butt. I have an itchy leg, just for reference to people watching the video.
Scratching her ass, dudes. I know it's off camera.
Okay, excellent. And so with cluster B disorders, these include borderline personality, histrionic, narcissistic personality disorder, and antisocial personality disorder.
Yep.
And at the moment, I feel like there's one more, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Histrionic
Is the one,
personality
so is
disorder.
that what she has?
So she has both borderline and histrionic disorder.
Okay. Yep.
Because you want to speak more to histrionic, I'll speak about that.
Yep.
Now,
I think everyone knows BPD, the bipolar is.
It's not bipolar,
No,
it's borderline.
it's borderline.
Bipolar is marked differently to borderline.
So borderline is that leaning into it, but not quite there.
No,
It's
completely
like a
different.
hot-blooded narcissist. Narcissist is cold and calculating.
Cold-blooded.
Borderline.
Like,
doing
that's
it.
not
Let's be careful of stigmatizing language because
I'm not the
personality
subject
disorders
matter
get a
expert,
bad
so I
rap
can
as well.
We're bringing this.
Just freeball it.
I will correct, but allow yourselves to feel free on the reign of language. With histrionic personality disorder, okay, not free reign.
Said that, I thought.
Okay, we're PC,
No.
all right?
Yeah, go.
So histrionic personality disorder is marked often by shallow affect. And now the way that we identify that is there might be very dramatic expression of emotion, but it's very shallowly felt. So it might be a quick burst of emotion, high intensity reactivity, and dramatic responses. But not for very long periods of time. So
it's like a big thing.
You might
it's
say
kind of
something
fake?
to me, a little bit. So you give me an insult, not a genuine plan. I'm sensitive.
Because now you're allowing me to be creative.
Be creative. I love the creativity. I like thinking on the spot. It helps me.
No, I'm struggling now. You can't make me insult.
That scarf looks like shit.
Okay. So what I would do is I'd be like, okay, what the actual fuck? Are you serious? You don't like my scarf? Do you not like the way I dress? I actually dressed up for you specifically today. Do you have to make it about this? This is feeling really personal to me.
I guess it's the whole outfit.
You hate me. You just don't love me anymore. Are you going to leave me? Is this what you're doing? Is this what you're trying to say to me? Do you think I'm ugly?
Yeah.
So
that's
it's
the
that
big explosion.
really big explosion.
But you said to low effect.
And then it's very shallow though. So it's not felt deeply. It's very
showy.
Very showy. So it's performative almost. And you'll see it because it doesn't feel genuine.
That's 100% yes.
And
yes,
so
queen.
that
I need that grab.
often they will be quite sexually provocative. So you learn very quickly to be seductive, very flirtatious, because that's a good way to socialize with people, to barter for different things, right? So whether it's career, social status, interest of other men, validation of sorts as well. So there's a lot of external validation seeking in the behavior. I don't like the term attention seeking because I do think it's actually a really stigmatizing type of language to use. So I'm going to say connection seeking is really actively sought. And so the behaviors can at times be manipulative, but they're also at times quite gullible. So what you've already spoken to a little bit as well in terms of Amber, and when we had this discussion earlier, a lot of individuals can be easily swayed. So a person with histrionic personality disorder might be sharing these dramatic perceptions that are their truth. It is their truth ultimately.
But so when you say that, you mean she genuinely believes it, but it's not necessarily the thing that's happening. It's disproportionate
to the genuine situation. And that can be really hard to differentiate for individuals with personality disorders because it usually stems from trauma, right? So of course you're going into those states.
Pretty much always stems from trauma, doesn't it?
Personality disorders, the history behind it is very, very trauma-based. Some genetic components, but very predominantly environmental and at times
So what you're saying is we need to get Amber Heard's dad on the stand.
Oh God, no, I wouldn't recommend that.
He could be a lovely man. Her mum could just be a massive narcissist.
Or her father would be a narcissist. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Kept his balls in a jar. And maybe they got separated when she was, I don't know, about 10 or something like that. And
Dad comes up a bit actually, so yeah, it could be the mum.
Yeah, the dad's probably cool, and mum's probably just a massive narcissist who drove her to that, to be the.
Well, that behaviour does come out when there are children of narcissists.
Play too, because I don't think her mum actually Amber Heard's mum. Let's go, team. Keep going.
Okay, so yeah, in terms of that, that's what histrionic personality disorder looks like, but also that gullibility. So if I were to tell you this story that I've experienced, a lot of people will obviously be very empathic. They'll be very generous, very kind. What can I do for you? Oh gosh, that sounds really horrible. And then that's when they go, oh, so my story is legit. This is confirming it for me, which means I'm in danger. This person's bad. It's almost reaffirming the story that while they were certain of it, they needed the confirmation that it was occurring for them to feel confident in their own story.
But that's what the thing is, right? Because they're traumatized and they've got their fear of abandonment or fear of not being validated or fear of being crazy, I think would be a valid fear.
I have a fear of that. It's a very valid fear.
For her, that would be huge right now.
I know someone who may or may not have had something in the complex B, cluster B, was it?
Yeah, cluster
something
B.
in this field.
She actually was actively dating James Franco for a while
prior to
good dick too.
after May 2016.
I'm telling you, man, she was ridiculously hot. That's insane.
Continuing on.
It's okay. Where was I up to? Oh, cluster B. Yeah. So sometimes it would be some sort of thing, and it's like before when I was like, oh, there's something wrong. You don't know what it is. If you literally, because I know someone who was somewhere in this field, probably in a similar position to Amber Heard, but not quite as hot, who had spent a lot of money on going to, mental health professionals, psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, and all this type of thing. And I'm convinced would have just gone in there and probably just acted their story in their way to get the validation they needed and missed the entire point of what was going on. Because, I mean, if that mental health professional was a bird on their shoulder and could see what was going on, they might be like, oh, fuck, okay, this is what's happening. But when someone goes in there and explains that, so I think a lot of people, we're all blind to our own problems. Yeah, everyone else can see our problems. We can't see them. And you might say, tell me about my problems, but it would be hard for you to tell me because it would be so hard for me to hear as much as I'd want to hear it.
It's about whether we're ready to receive it as well.
And so I think that's the thing. A lot of these people would be there genuinely needing validation, genuinely needing... Oh, what?
Was that?
What was the comment you blocked?
Oh, I don't know. He was just trying to sell views.
Okay.
It's a bot. I was like, I'll ban that.
Fuck the bots.
Yes. If you can send a message in chat, Rosie, I can just see. Thank you, sir.
Succulent.
Accumulate Chinese meat.
Succulent Chinese meal.
Democracy manifest.
I really
don't forget to vote tomorrow, guys.
But the glasses, how long are you getting?
They do nothing. I found out how to figure out which astigmatism I have.
Yeah.
So you just cover one.
Yeah.
And there was actually a visual occlusion test, which I did. And if there are colours that seem to be more prominent, that's the eye that has the astigmatism. Yep. Whereas the other ones, it should just be neutral. And it turns out I'm blind as fuck in my right eye, but my left eye I can see very well out of.
So I'll get you cluster B astigmatism. I was trying to get a photo of her mum and there was nothing really that was zoomable.
Even photos like that send signals to me that that's not a healthy relationship. That
really?
Looks like an
enmeshed... body language?
Yeah.
Really?
Not body language. It's the enmeshment. A mother that's trying to remain youthful makes sense, but the fact that she looks like she has a friendship relationship with her mother, we usually see that as a red flag. Enmeshment is not a healthy style of relationship. If there is a mother that's trying to act more youthful, that's actively trying to be in her daughter's life in a capacity that is more than just a mother, we show concern in therapy. It's enmeshed relationships cause for big concern because there's usually a level of trauma that's indicated within that. But also lack of boundaries, which means that
Oh my God.
oh.
What the fuck? Because he is from Texas. Jesus
Yeehaw!
Christ.
All right, here, cowboy.
Pick the... Okay, that's weird. Why they have...
Because they have the same mows. That's
Oh, wow.
Then you like how media is like, oh, so this was the thing. That was the...
We've been going for an hour and 33.
No, because remember, we lost half the pod.
We stopped for like half an hour, 40 minutes.
We've been a healthy time, but we can bring it into the end.
We love a good wrap up and conclusion here at Irrelevant Platitudes. Something we do occasionally.
But good on her for blurring her baby's face out. I like that.
I don't think she did it herself.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure
someone else took care of that.
The agency being like, you can't sue us because we haven't put your baby's face here. You know how much you'd like to sue, lady. There he is, Elon Musk.
Not fully.
Mistakes.
Yeah, true.
She got...
And is she back with
she
the
made
Chiefs
him
now?
free. I don't know, no.
I mean, you know, bit of a floaty boat.
And then he stepped on a bee and... oh my God, I want to see if there's the video of that fucking 9-year-old that's like mocking the fucking whole TikTok segment.
Did he step on a bee or a beer?
A bee. She stepped on a bee.
Yeah, she did.
Give me a hot minute because
It's all right.
I think it would be very funny if I had access to it.
Oh, you reckon you can send it through to the...
Yes, that is exactly what I will do.
The messengers.
Uh-huh.
The big messengers. Like, actually, you know what? I'll officially thank the Razman who was in our pre-show.
Yeah, helpful man.
And basically picked up that we had 2 microphones that weren't fucking working.
Found it.
Send it through and I'll be able to play it for you right now.
I've already sent it.
So he effectively saved us a good hour's worth of content because we would have been
allowed for those flowing chats.
Is it? Is it playing?
It is.
Oh, you need to listen to this because I've rewatched it. Oh.
Cool. Tank.
Oh, it's playing. Wait, you need to go
Goddamn
back.
TikTok
so
stuff,
it's
man.
the essentially.
Can I just say this TikTok trend of just shit playing at
it's
random?
because it works on the phone. It's not meant for
but it doesn't.
computing.
Stuff just randomly playing doesn't work.
Yeah.
So basically, what this video is, it's the this little kid had pretty much memorized every part of Amber Heard's like storyline when she was trying to explain.
You're kidding me.
It is hilarious.
Pepper in the Angus.
And he's fucking good too. He's very.
So I walked up to the bedroom and he slapped me across the face. And I turned to look at him. I said, Johnny, you hit me. You just hit me. So I lost my balance, and at that point, both of us were sitting at the edge of the couch. No, I was sitting at the edge of the couch. And I just sat there on the carpet, looking at the dirty carpet, wondering how I wound up on this carpet. And I didn't even realize how filthy this carpet was before. And I didn't know what to do, didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to react. My dog stepped on a bee. My dad had 1 + 2 is 3.
How good is that? That kid learned that
So
word
good.
for word. I'm like, fuck.
That's amazing.
What a crazy
And it's also a good depiction of how fucking unbelievable her story is.
Crazy time to be alive. Like, think about how meta that is and how difficult it would be to explain to someone from fucking 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, there's this thing, the internet, and then there's this thing, and then there's this... And then they carry it with
trying to explain
social media.
Vines as is
Then there was
hard enough.
TikTok, and then people started...
Vines. I miss
Vines
Vines
that make
so
me less
much.
depressed. Can we watch them tonight before I leave?
Yeah, of course we check the Vines on.
Check a good Vine compilation.
But how do you feel now you've been caught up to the whole thing? You're in the
Llama
Matrix
llama.
now, man.
Yeah.
3
look,
days the court case comes back.
Yeah, I feel all right. I was a bit concerned at first because when I'd first heard about it, I was like
soap opera-y.
Justice for Johnny. But then I'd heard that there was another side to the argument, and I thought I really should inform myself.
Justice for
And I feel like you guys
Have
have
we done that for you?
You guys have done absolutely nothing towards that.
Fuck!
But we had a good conversation, and it's made me feel very
You know
validated.
what? Anyone hearing this now has already listened to the podcast, so it doesn't fucking matter.
Exactly. That's it. But no, it's actually been good to go over, and I got to say, there's nothing that surprising in there.
Yeah, it's a lot. And you know what? The thing that we overlook as well, a lot of celebrity relationships, a lot of people think of them as monogamous, but you have to understand, I guess, at a different social level, these relationships necessarily aren't monogamous, but they may play that card socially. So that was one thing, even though I did make the comment that she was maybe sleeping with other men.
Johnny be good.
Their relationship may have been something like the Jada Smith and the Will Smith thing, where it wasn't necessarily a closed relationship, and they might be keeping that.
That's the whole thing with this shit. It's like to begin with, it's someone else's business. Whoever's sharing it with it, it's not them. They're not like, oh, hey guys, we just want to share this information with you. And so it is just this bizarre thing where you get a glimpse into what's actually going on, but you're not necessarily seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of good.
Do you think, I guess, the one thing, do you think that Johnny will be able to be in like your big blockbusters again, or do you think that ship has sailed and he's pretty much fucked from this?
Well, he's rich enough to maintain himself.
Yeah, but in terms of like an artist, because he's a fucking dope actor. Like
I think that he'd be included a fair bit after the amount of trials.
I think it
really
depends.
like to see him in
He might be ostracized.
on-
They might be both exercised.
Yeah, I think there's a community there in Hollywood where they're like, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable, you're in, you're out. So I think that if he wins this trial, which it seems like maybe he will, and so he could, and I feel like that almost throw him a roll or two out of solidarity after something like this.
True.
But also, he was getting pretty old, and I can't think of what the last great Johnny Depp movie was.
That's the thing, is I think his career was kind of
on its last legs.
This could be the fucking thing to bring him back. You never know.
I mean, if we've got De Niro when he was in
but De Niro's a fucking
No, but it
classic.
was disgusting in the it was like the Goodfellas kind of
He
thing.
was good in the Dirty Grandpa film.
Um,
What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Johnny Depp did many more films after that was amazing. Fuck you, that was young Johnny days.
But,
I analysed that in English. It was my favourite movie and I watched it 10 times on repeat in the same week.
Can you that Gladiator? We did Gladiator the analysis and it ruined it for me. I can't watch it anymore.
So because you went
I remember we had to read Of Mice and Men and I didn't read it. And instead I watched half the movie and I got 49 out of 50 on it and I didn't even understand it. I just know someone dies in it, was killed.
Have you never seen Gladiator?
No.
I'll watch Gladiator with you. You've never seen it.
Yeah, it's a fucking great movie.
Would I watch it though?
It's a great fucking movie.
Is Gerard Butler in it?
No.
Then I won't watch it.
You only watch Gerard Butler movies?
Joaquin Phoenix is in it.
Yeah, Joaquin.
I think it's pronounced Joaquin, actually.
Joaquin. But look, guys, hopefully we've been able to give you some sort of
biased view
insight.
on...
I mean, not biased. Legally, he's going to win, and she lied a lot, so don't lie if you're in the right. I think as we are a dating and relationship podcast,
are we?
It's insightful to maybe understand that we need to see the full story before we make judgments on anything.
That's a nice takeaway.
I think it's a dating and psychology podcast as much as it's anything else.
Well, she's
just
the psych
little
expert.
going on fucking tangents about psych things because it's the only way I can stay
You can
relevant.
change
in
it
my
to
conversations.
tangential platitudes if you like it.
I actually don't mind that as a name, but my speech
It's a
is
lot.
actually more circumstantial in nature.
Circumstantial in nature is a good name for a podcast.
Oh yeah, nice.
Save that. We can
you
do an
say
offshoot.
that it's in the air now. Whatever you said earlier.
Fuck you. We're gonna go now.
We're gonna go now.
Thanks
Sorry.
everyone for listening, and everyone in the chat. Thank you very much, and everyone that's watching on Spotify. How cool is this? So if
What's
you want to
cool?
follow us on anything else, it is a link tr.ee/IrrPlatPod. And James, where can they find you again?
Jimmy.
Instagram.com/Jimmy.walks.
And you know what?
Obviously,
If you use a fucking computer, it's just Jimmy.walks on
we have it
Instagram.
there.
And let's have a look. I don't know if that works. Oh, there we go.
For a second, I thought you were on fucking
What name your
TikTok.
sex tape? Oh, that's that's actually not a bad name, mate.
And look at his beautiful photos he recently uploaded. No. Keep to the top
This
three,
one.
thank you.
No, I don't give a fuck.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
Let me zoom that.
Oh, look at that. That's a lovely.
That's a very beautiful shot.
Dope.
Yeah.
Did you pose that person?
No, that person was just there.
Really?
Yeah, that's actually
He's
why
really
I
good at getting his
Awesome,
natural
dude.
shots.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a shot. And then that
Name
guy
of your
walked
sex
in and
tape.
started looking at his phone. And I was like, yeah, that's a shot.
That
So
is
it's good.
dope, man. Oh, what have we done?
Oh, there's one of Lil there.
Where?
I got it, the bendy one.
No,
Some
honestly, I thought I had me.
lovely flowers.
That was
I
when we were
remember
in
this one. This one
lockdown.
actually
That's my
really-
favourite one. That's one I
Yeah,
mentioned earlier.
Stuck out some.
Yeah. There's
go, buddy.
Lil.
That's me during lockdowny phases,
Was
being
the
a
golf
bendy
course.
Look
human.
at you with your fucking staunch.
That's literally my face when it's just in
if you
normal
wanna-
state.
There's a classic. There's a classic. If you scroll down.
Sean.
No,
This is
you
full
won't. Oh, there's
Sean,
Sean. there's a blocked one of Sean that I wish I could show you guys.
Damn it.
But the poon. Where's the?
Keep going.
Scroll down. Let's keep scrolling down. Oh, where the fuck is it?
Which one are you thinking of?
The restaurant.
Is that Lil?
Let's scroll down a bit
Yeah,
more.
that's
Yeah,
me
that's
as
Lil.
well. Me and my full
That was
dancing
actually
mode.
that was the first
It was
post
also
that I
during
did
lockdown.
that got a lot of
This was that
reaction
naughty
out of
thing that
people.
you guys
That
weren't
was
supposed to be at.
I don't want to be arrested.
No, we didn't
in
go to it.
hindsight.
I wasn't there. Where the fuck is Poon Street? Oh, there it is.
Shot.
It's on the left.
That one?
Just it's up.
That one?
That laundry
Up a bit
shot's
more.
amazing.
That
though.
one? That one?
No, the one above that.
That one.
Yeah, this
That's
is my
it.
favourite shot.
It's fucking good.
So this is taken to Western Suburbs at Poon's restaurant.
Another name for a podcast. Poon's Restaurant.
That is not
Well,
a fucking podcast
that's
name.
actually
That's
the name
a
of the
fucking
line.
just
strip
about
club name.
fucking. No, Poon's Restaurant. Actually, yes.
Yes, I know.
Poon's Eat-In Diner.
All you can
It's
eat.
my favourite place to eat
all
out.
you can eat. Yes, bitch. That's so good.
Poon's all you can eat.
That's amazing. But yeah, all right. That's
Keep it spicy.
that's our thing, and we'll see you guys
I want
later.
that to
We
be
love
my
you
new
all.
slogan. Keep it spicy. No. What are you
waiting for?
Wait, the car's cold.
Get
Keep
the
it
fuck
neutral.
out
Sean
of here!
in his
What's
state.
fucking warming up? Get out of
I'm
here!
so spewing at that fucking picture of Sean.
You're the man.
Get the fuck
Get
out.
out of here.
Did you delete it?
Thanks for listening
I had
to
to archive
Irrelevant
it.
Platitudes.
We can see it. You can see it if you want. I think I've showed it to you already. I should answer that girl.
Which one?
Kate Lenz.
Kate Land?
Kate Lenz.
Oh, one of your quotes.
And tell
One
her
of your
that
quotes.
comments and tell
All
her
right,
that
guys. We're out. Love you. I'm turning the live stream off. Bye.